What's up everyone, this is Mccree, and for today's video, we're actually going to go over a loadout that actually is very close to my heart because it's been one of those loadouts that I actually did personally really hate at first because there's one player who keeps owning me back in the old days, and his name is actually called Ozai16 or something like that if I recall it correctly. And every time I face him, he usually just really kicks my ass with that loadout, and it kind of pursues me into using that loadout exactly the same way. But at first I hated it because for most of the time I'm actually quite used to using fully automatic weapons such as SMGs, machine pistols, auto rifles and such, and I'm not very used to the fact that like you have to be very accurate with your shots and all. However, once I actually got used to it, this loadout actually did become actually my favorite set to use almost ever since I actually got used to it, and in turn it actually helped me develop as a player to get even better with other weapons such in the game also. And this loadout really does improve your aim a lot because it does demand you to be consistent with your aim, and at the same time it's not only that, but you have to be very careful with your movement too because it actually does determine the way you play your character and the way you have to be moving and aiming at the same time. For most of the time before I actually use this loadout, I tend to either hip fire or aim down my sight and straight in only one direction only. However, I'm not usually consistent with my position at all and basically give my opponent a chance to kill me almost instantly, and it sort of does that today even before that loadout, but I did learn to improvise on that. But on using this loadout, it actually opened a path for me of different ways on how to approach enemies and sometimes even do something a bit more radical than that I wouldn't able to do before. And that loadout did give me some insight in the way of different playstyles out there besides just basically generically run towards the enemy, try to kill them as best you can, then repeat the cycle again, and you dying, kill the enemy, you dying, kill the enemy again. It sort of gets boring like that, but for the actual Mccree loadout that I just mentioned before, it actually changed all of it that because one, you kind of realize that other weapons kind of make it too easy for you, and it actually teaches the lesson that there is versatile game styles out there that you can play with the set, but it's just a matter of which one suits your style of play. And also, by using the set that you see right here in the gameplay, you probably don't even need anything else besides those two pistols because they already do a good enough job on almost all of ranges of areas such as long range with the Redemptor, and for close range you can just use the Redeemer, burst all those damage onto your shadows or Wraith or anyone happening to be close by pretty easily with those two guns together, and eventually lead these two guns to be perfectly for each other. And it's something you should actually keep in your life for all times because it's a great training tool for yourself in case you just try to warm up your character, you try to get things ready, and this set it really does prepare you for that. So for you guys who actually do want to attempt to use this set, I do warn you that it will be a little bit rusty first if you're not very good with your aim, but I guarantee you this set will actually teach you the way to aim, and this will actually improve the way you actually play first-person shooters in general because it allowed me to play Overwatch a lot more better because I could play Mccree very well because of this set, and it's basically a similarities between what Ballistic Overkill has to offer versus what Overwatch Mccree does too, but hence both using those guns at the same time, they feel very similar, but you actually have to take into account that by using consistency on the Marksman build or the Mccree set in this case, it will actually throw that accuracy a little bit off if you try to transition between those two games because the consistency will literally make your bullet go towards the circle rectangle you see in your screen, but without it, you probably get a perfect emulation of what you see in Overwatch, which is why I tend to avoid using that skill at all costs when it comes to the Mccree build because I try to want to have a perfect emulation as much as possible. So if I do jump over play Overwatch with Mccree, that transition will be really seamless for me, then I could actually play Mccree very well, or if I were to switch back, I could play the same thing as well with Marksman with the Mccree loadout. But anyways, if you want to go rock out this loadout, the actual skills that you can use is pretty much up to you, but most of the skills are pretty good as is, but sometimes some works better for you, some works for others, so there is no such thing as the perfect build set. But if there's one thing I would have to criticize, if you actually use awareness skill, if you're just using that, it's just simply the fact you're going to be that player that constantly relies on your rare to get kills rather than going out there with your revolvers and seeking out those kills or going ambushing with your kills with those two guns. And pretty much it's not as fun just to be cheaping out with awareness and all. So if you want to use awareness, that's fine for you. I'm not going to criticize you for using it, but however, you probably won't get the same experience of going out there, just testing yourself, using that loadout, and just having fun with it. So if you want to use it, go ahead, but if not, just don't use it at all, just use other skills because there's build skills are much better than using awareness just to enhance the performance of those two revolvers in general. Once you actually do master with aiming with the twin revolvers, you actually can proceed to the next step of trying and land those headshots that you can actually do with the Redemptor. If you actually do manage to land a headshot with a Redemptor, you can actually see those crispy 200 damage, and that is pretty much enough to kill majority of the classes that the game has to offer, excluding Vanguard and Tank. But if you land two headshots at the same time, it's enough to kill a Vanguard, literally, or a Tank without the well-prepared or less stand. But other than that, I highly recommend practicing your headshots after you master the loadout, so therefore you can make things a lot more fun. And once you do land those headshots, you're probably going to think that you don't even need a sniper rifle at this point if it does such a good enough damage within a certain range already. So why even bother using a sniper rifle if you could just have fun by using these two revolvers, and your movement speed will be almost like a Shadow or even a last laugh Grenadier is moving just as fast as a Marksman with the revolvers. So can you already see the benefit of using these two revolvers, because your movement is already enhanced and you could just seamlessly run around the battlefield just killing every single one of players along the way, and you can just have fun with this loadout. Literally just give it a try, just have some fun with it. And if you care about your ranking, just say don't go for it, man. It's not worth grinding or investing your time into it. And all I'm just trying to say is try to focus on trying new things, go outside your box or your comfort zone just to learn new things, and later on you kind of find out like, hey, this loadout is not as bad as I thought it would be, and you end up having fun with it. But if there's one thing I would have to say before doing this loadout is this loadout itself is more of a duelist weapon, and it's not a loadout recommended for those players who actually are going for overkills, unless you somehow manage to kill all 4 people within a certain amount of time with your revolvers. And for the majority of the time when you're facing a group of enemies, you are going to struggle unless you somehow magnificently with a miracle headshot all of them and you get overkill. But most of the time it won't happen like that, so just be aware of which enemy you're dealing with, be constantly aware of how many people are there, and if there's one person you feel confident you can deal with, go ahead, duel that person, and just keep on moving on with 1 versus 1 until you see a group of person. And that's the actual chance that I actually will withdraw from that particular position in the map and try to find a different way to tackle 1 person at a time, so I won't be risking myself of losing even more times, rather than just taking time to think of ways of trying to overcome them without getting myself a kill at the same time. So in other words, this loadout will actually test your decision making skills, because it's not only the fact you have to go kill enemies with this loadout, it's just a matter of planning ahead of time, try to strategize on how you engage the enemy without getting yourself killed with this loadout. Just to close out in this video and this guide of using the Mccree loadout, if you really want to copy my loadout, you can, because it's probably the most broken thing that you can ever use in this build, because I actually prefer having high sustainability builds so I can actually outlive the enemy a lot more longer and get more kills, get more kill streaks out this way, rather than using the damage builds out there that you can actually pick from. So if you want to copy my build, you can actually go ahead, copy it, see if it works for you. And that following loadout is going to be Veteran, and this skill allows you to refill both of your revolvers when you reload one of the guns, and at the same time you get 50% damage reduction while you're reloading. So this is a great tool whenever you try to get away from someone, because what I usually do is, if I were to be running away from someone, I usually fire from a Redeemer, then reload, so while you're running you actually benefit from that 50 damage reduction, and you have a much higher chance of surviving those bullets if they were to hit you or not during the process. And just to make it even more better, I'm using special medicine in my build, because not only would boost your health, but it will actually allow you to regain some health over time. And just to think about it, if you actually stack a full health pack and is regenerating roughly 50 or 75 HP per second, and you're reloading with Venom at the same time, any bot shot to your body, except for shotguns or snipers, you can actually have a high chance that you would still have full HP and you still kill them, and you're actually going to make that player that you just killed, they're going to assume you that you're hacking with HP because you actually barely do damage to you, but in reality you actually are being damaged, but you have such a high regeneration that actually recovers almost all the damage that person actually gave to you. So this is actually probably the most broken set as is, but it only works itself if you time the situation right. So it's not very overpowered that in a constant basis compared to awareness, but it actually is broken just to give you almost a big advantage if you were to time everything right with this build. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this 10-minute long loadout review and some tips and strategies you can actually use with this loadout if you were to try it. And if you were to try it, just let me know with your experience down in the comments below. I do look forward to see your experience, if it works for you or not, or if you want some help in making things a lot more better if you were to use this loadout. I'll try to do my best just to answer your question to the best of my abilities so you can actually improve as a player, and therefore you can actually carry this skill towards other first-person shooters. This is in case if that were to be the case. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you want more videos like these, also give a like and then comment down below too to see which loadout that you want to see to try out, or is there something that you want to copy off me and you want me to make a guide for you guys on how to use it. And yeah, this is fullest, and I'll be signing out on this video.